Patty, did I see a little bit of dancing?
That's that tune just sort of gets me, helps me get in the mood because this show is I can let my hair down, so to speak, a little bit. We're not so formal here, and I'm so excited
Patty, you
for
don't
our
have
guest.
a lot of hair.
Yeah, I know.
You don't have any hair to let down.
I'm not going to say you're one to talk, but I just said it anyway. So.
But our guest tonight definitely does have hair.
Yes, he does.
I think he's had that beard since as long as I can remember. And so tell us about our guest tonight, Patty.
Our guest tonight, he's a fan. He's a fan artist who went pro. He's been a satirist of superheroes in general. But the really amazing thing about it is that everything he's done that I've always experienced has been from the love and perspective of a true fan. He genuinely gets these characters, even in this when he's poking fun at them or making them doing ridiculous stuff. And I just can't wait to hear his perspective.
And I think that people of a certain age, know him from his strip in the DC Comics, his Daily Planet strip that he did for years. If you he did Comics Buyer's Guide back when it was the guide for comic fandom. He had a strip in there. With Marvel, the Marvel Age, I know we all remember that very well. Fred Hembeck destroys the Marvel Universe. Fred Hembeck sells the Marvel Universe, and here he is, Fred Hembeck.
Hi, everybody.
Hey!
Here I am with my long-lasting beard.
That beard, you've always had that, right? Is there ever time?
Third year of college, I grew the beard.
All right.
I grew the beard before I grew the mustache. So for a while there, I was like Amish Fred. But, had it ever. I actually shaved it once or twice over the last 30 years, and it scared people. And so it grew right back.
I think it's part of the brand. I mean, when you draw yourself, you've always got that beard on there. I don't know that people would recognize you.
That is true.
So we'll jump right in. You've been in the industry for quite a while. But you were a fan first.
Yeah.
And you started in fandom. You started with the Comics Buyer's Guide, doing a strip back when it was a guide for comics fandom.
Yep.
So
actually, yeah.
Actually, what?
I had a few drawings done in fanzines in the years before that, but that was when it really hit.
Okay. Yeah. So growing up, you're in that sweet spot where I guess I believe you were born in 1953. So correct. You're right of age at the beginning of the when DC starts, with their Silver Age, and then right at the beginning of the Marvel Universe.
Oh yeah.
So
yes.
When did you start reading comics? What are your early memories?
Well, the first comic I read was a copy of Spooky the Tough Little Ghost from Harvey Comics. My dad, worked at this. He was a cook at this infirmary, Suffolk County Infirmary, and a coworker of his had a kid who was outgrowing his comic books. So he gave him one to see if I liked it. Well, guess what? I liked it. So then he brought home a big box of comics. Mm-hmm. They were almost all kiddie comics, though. There was one Jimmy Olsen and one World's Finest. Mm-hmm. But besides that, there were the ones I loved so much, the Little Archie, the Little Lulu, and the Dennis the Menace, which I still love to this day. So for a couple of years there, it's about 1960, I'm just buying Harvey Comics and Dell Comics. But finally, a friend of mine in school was bringing in the Superman comics. I'm in the second grade. There you go. Hi, Spooky. And he's bringing in the crazy Mort Weisinger Superman comics. And, Superman's got like a big head because he's from the future, or he's turned into a lion. Or especially, there's Bizarro. And that's what caught me, Bizarro. So my first Superman comic I made my mom buy for me was Superman Annual #2, which had the story of Bizarro in it. Mm. That was the first Bizarro story, and it was all played for pathos. It wasn't goofy. So I was kind of disappointed, and I just kept on with my Harveys and my Dells. And then the Great Boo Boo Contest came along. Do you guys remember that one?
No.
Late on us.
It was a 5-page story in the back of one of the Superman comics, and it was full of, there he is, it was full of intentional errors.
Oh.
And they wanted you, there was how many can you pick out? And this kid in school showed it to me, and I was like, wow, this is great. And then there was an ad that said, the Bizarros are getting their own, series. So right then and there, I had to start buying comic books. And the first Superman comic I bought had the origin of Superman in it. And within a month, that's the Secret Origins Giant came out. It was like they were just waiting for me.
Yeah.
It's like, here, this will explain everything to you. So yeah, around 1961 in May, started with this buying the comics, and I bought everything that had anything to do with the Justice League. Any of those characters, even Wonder Woman. To this day, I don't understand it, but I bought all the DC comics at one time or another, but I refused to buy Tales of the Unexpected with Space Ranger. For some reason, I thought that little character he had with him, a little round character. That's the one.
Yeah.
It was too much for me. I wouldn't buy that comic. I never
the weird the conical nose and the spherical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
I think I have a sketch card of Cyril by you. So,
yeah, I finally drew one of them. I said, because I bought Aquaman. He had Quisp in it. Had all these stupid characters, but I just wouldn't go for that character.
I drew the line at Quisp.
I drew the line at Cyril. Quisp was
I drew the line at Quisp.
Oh, you drew?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can handle Batmite, but once we got to Quisp.
Batmite was good. Yeah, sure.
I was I share your enthusiasm though about the Silver Age Bizarro stories. Just is big crime to make it the Bizarro rules, and whenever when Jimmy Olsen got sent there one time and he thought, well, maybe I could take over, but he did everything wrong by Bizarro standards. And
right, exactly.
Yeah, I mean those again, Silver Age DC is so crazy when you look at it at one level, but I always say it's more imaginative than Silver Age Marvel. Silver Age Marvel, they went for the tone that they did, but Silver Age DC is such a fantastical element to it.
Well, Patty, I think that more, whatever you'll say about him, more it's the one comment Mort would say is that his audience were kids, right? He was going for a very young. He's like, I've got 1 million 7-year-olds or 8-year-olds or something that are my critics. And over at Marvel, I think they were going for a little bit of an older audience. So you're dealing in different.
They were going for the kids that thought spooky was cool.
Yeah, well.
The shorthand for Harvey characters was if they had freckles, you knew they were kind of bad kids.
Right, exactly.
Like Cousin Reggie from Richie Rich.
Yep. No, I did like I still like to read those weird Mort Weisinger Superman comics. I find a lot of the other DC comics kind of dull from that era at this point. But man, the crazy things they put Superman through.
And Lois and Jimmy in their time.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole cast.
Yeah.
And you seem to have a thing you like Jimmy Olsen.
Oh yeah. I mean, just think about it. You got a comic book about the main character's best friend, and they had to have 3 stories in every issue. So sometimes he's dressing up as a woman, sometimes he's turning into a baby. Another time he's going back in time and hanging out with Thor. It was crazy insanity. And I'd read somewhere that just recently that Mort Weisinger had a sign on his desk that like, our audience are 8-year-olds. And that was what age I was when those Superman comics drew me in. So he was right.
So then Marvel comes along.
Oh, Marvel comes along. You bet. That was story goes that I was sick. I had a mild case of scarlet fever, and so I couldn't get out of the car to buy my comic books when my mom was driving me home from the doctor. But we always had this little store that we stopped by where she would get the newspaper and the milk and the the bread. And right in the front window, this was very convenient, was where the magazines and the books were, comic books. So she didn't know what I liked. So she went into the store, but she would know I liked comics. She went into the store and she went to the rack and she held them up in the window. And I would go yes or I'd go no, I remember seeing a Black Hawk. That logo, you can't miss that logo. So thumbs up for Black Hawk. But then I saw the Fantastic Four. And that logo was like, it looked like something out of the circus to me.
Yeah.
And I hesitated. I said, well, yeah, let's get that. Let's get that. Number four, issue number 4, with the Submariner.
Yeah.
And that, I previously to that, I had avoided the Atlas comics with the Monsteros and the Fing Fang Fooms, and those things scared me. I was a little scared kid.
Mm-hmm.
I got past spooky, but not past that.
Son of Gugam.
Yeah. That stuff's great now. I love seeing the reprints and stuff, but I wouldn't buy that at the time. Didn't know it was the same thing. There it is. Yep, yeah. Comic that changed my life. Yeah. So I got that one. And the first page, the first panel, the thing is grumping about the Human Torch, which, by the way, I never seen the word torch before. So I call them the Human Touch. Until a friend of mine explained to me that was not the actual way you pronounce that. And then I, the second Marvel I bought was number 6. Somehow I missed number 5. And then after that it was Strange Tales 101, which was the first Human Torch story. And then we started branching out. And, I was there for Spider-Man number 1, but not Amazing Fantasy. I missed that one.
Wow.
But I love those comics. They're the best.
Yeah, that's a pretty good issue to start off with Fantastic Four. I suppose so much goes to that. It's the first time you see a superhero group squabbling among themselves. I quit. Let's go. I'm gonna hang out in the Bowery for a while.
I know the Bowery. What was that all about?
Back when
and then I'm gonna go mess with this bum. And I'm going to light him on fire.
That's where the beard comes from, Fred. Your whole life, you're waiting for the Human Torch to burn it off you.
Burn it off, exactly, with his finger, of course.
Okay. When we get our live shows back in business, we'll get a pyrotechnic expert, and we will do this at the show for charity.
Yeah, perhaps we will.
Okay,
perhaps we will. We'll take a look at that. But, I mean, that first cover, I thought Submariner was one of the good guys. That big, orange guy, he couldn't be one of the good guys.
Yeah.
But that was something else.
It was good. And the story, and there's something else that a lot of people forget is that the Human Torch was the takeoff character out of the group, and that's why they spun him off in those things. He was not quite the teenager. He was theoretically 20, as opposed to Peter Parker who was 16. So there was just enough a gap, but. Yeah, and those stories are fun. They really are, and they haven't been reprinted as often as they should, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like the early ones. I know by the mid '60s, Marvel was getting kind of formulaic. Is that the right way of pronouncing it?
Yeah,
But I love the first up to 60. I love 64. 64 is my favorite year.
Well, it's the first couple years of Marvel. There's actual change. Like the characters are growing, the characters are changing, they're adapting. Yeah. Then at a certain point in time, Stan decides we're now going to present the illusion of change.
Yep.
And so somewhere around 65, when Roy takes over, he's not allowed to change anything anymore.
Plus, the stories kept going on and on. I used to like the fact that you have one-issue story. It was really exciting if they had a 2-issue story. But, I always thought, I loved the Fantastic Four, but to me it all kind of went downhill after number 39. I mean, the Inhumans, give me a break on them. They went for they took over the book for a while, and they weren't even that interesting. I know I'm in a minority there.
No,
as much as I love that era, the Kirby era, there's a weird pattern to it where it's like, the stories the arcs end in the middle and then they pick up a new one. And it's almost like what Levitz sort of based his Levitz formula on for Legion of Superheroes afterwards, but not with side characters, the whole intrinsic plot. A lot of people tend to forget that the whole Galactus thing and everything else ends kind of in the middle, and then they start with
It
White
does.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you know. Yeah, that's not that crescendo, that's end and whatever. So I mean, when you go back and read them now, you could if you read them in like a long sitting or binge it
Right.
for
Yeah.
Tuesday Network style, it flows better. Yeah, but on a monthly level, I can see a little
But I
disconcerting.
also think you could see Kirby's adaptation as a creator, for good or for bad. You know, he takes the Inhuman stuff, you know, that Eternals kind of vibe. When he's at DC, he's doing that with, you know, that's the stuff he's doing at DC in the 70s. He starts just throwing things against the wall,
Right.
and you kind of lose you lose that early kind of synergy of him and Stan, and whatever magic was happening in those first really 50 issues. By the time you get to this late 50s, 60s, kind of just, you know, fades.
I know. Yeah. And you know, the DC stuff as well, it was bi-monthly. It's kind of hard to really throw out all these plot lines in New Gods when it's coming out every 2 months.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, pretty much so.
So I read somewhere that Steve Ditko is
yeah.
is one of your favorites.
Oh yeah, not Spider-Man. Those comics. I just love those comics. The you know, the first all the issues he did. I mean, you can tell towards the end he was disgruntled and he was starting to turn Peter Parker into a real grumbling type character, but up through, you know, 25 or so. I mean, I still love the last bunch. To me, my favorite Marvel single comic is Spider-Man number 25. That's the one with the J. Jonah Jameson robot, because that story actually makes me laugh, because it's like a sitcom. That the robot's chasing Peter Parker down the street, and Flash and Liz are running after him. There's this great shot from above. I mean, Ditko actually had a sense of humor. He knew how to pace his stories. The thing about those Spider-Man stories, they were really the story of Peter Parker.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, his you know, all this stuff. And again, like I always tell everybody when I ask me what's so important about Spider-Man, I said Spider-Man was the first superhero that had to worry about paying the rent, and not just for one issue, constantly. He was the first hero that just really firmly existed in the real world, or at least as close as the real world as anybody had attempted to replicate at the time.
Yep, that's very true. I mean, the Fantastic Four had some good dynamics. I enjoyed that too, but yeah, Peter Parker. But
Ditko's villains are they're so grotesque. They're great. The Green Goblin, the Lizard. You know, you're starting to very different than the Kirby, you know, bulk, you know, villains that Kirby's doing.
Yeah.
More, you know, more almost Batman Rose Gallery-esque.
Yep. Yeah, those Sinister Six and a few others are just like so distinctive. They just put everybody else to shame, for God's sakes.
I mean, Fantastic Four, they were the cosmic conquerors, and Spider-Man were the bank robbers, you know, for the most part. And again, Sinister Six, I love that last shot when they're all in jail, and he's also, all right, this is what we're going to do next time, and Vulture's like, shut up, you know?
Yep. That's like my second favorite Marvel comic, the annual. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the splash pages, every time he clocks one out, yeah.
Oh yeah, especially the Electro one. I always love the Electro. Oh. I love that costume anyway. I love jagged lines. I just love lightning bolts. You see how I signed my last name with the K? I came up with that at one point. So yeah.
So while you're going through your fandom stage, I mean, were you doodling? Were you drawing? Were you? Yeah,
I was drawing. Thing was, it kind of happened in the sense that when I was in kindergarten, my teacher saw that I had, you know, some art talent, and she told my mom. And my mom, she said to my mom, "You should encourage him. You shouldn't don't discourage him. He can draw pretty well." And she told me that, and that planted a seed. And so ever since then, I said, "Oh, I guess I'm going to be an artist." And then the comics came along. So yeah, that's how that kind of evolved.
So, originally you did a very, I think you have a very different style for your,
Yep.
your line stuff, for your more, realistic, we'll call it, art versus your cartoony stuff.
Yep.
So what were you doing when you were younger? What were you starting at? Were you starting with the more,
Same. Yeah. I mean, my intention was always to like be the next regular type cartoonist that you would see in a Marvel comic, not some goofball I turned into. Which, that's the way that happens. So yeah, I did all that stuff. I mean, I have a big notebook downstairs that I did like when I was in, I don't know, 11th and 12th grade, where I did all copies of Neil Adams, Batman and Green Arrow and all this stuff. Just, because that was gonna be my new style. I was gonna be the next Neil Adams. And yeah.
It's not a bad place to start.
No. I mean, a lot of people were trying to do that at this point. So yeah, that's what I was going for. But I did at one point copy some Mort Walker, so maybe that's where it all kind of stuck out of. I always like Beetle Bailey. It's another favorite of mine.
So you're doing, you did a couple of smaller fanzine things, and then you you sent some stuff into the Comics Buyer's Guide, or the Guide for Comics Fandom.
Yes, sir.
So how does that start? How old are you when that happens? Walk us through that.
Okay. Well, I got involved. Well, I'll just go back briefly. In 1967 or so, I got a copy of Wits End magazine by that, the Wally Wood publication, and that opened my eye to fandom. And I started getting the RBCC and Fantasy Illustrated, which turned into Graphic Story magazine. And I was, I loved this stuff. I just loved, because I didn't have any. After the 7th grade, I had none of my friends, and I did have friends, were into comics. So it was all it was me and the people in my mailbox, who would do these zines and stuff. And I did a couple of illos here and there.
Did you do anything for RBCC?
I had a couple of letters. I had a letter in one of them in which I proclaimed that. I proclaimed that Neil Adams had gotten robbed because he didn't win the award that year, and Roy Thomas took offense to that and wrote a letter saying Jack Kirby deserves this, and I wrote back to Roy, and it was all okay, but I was just a dopey little 14-year-old saying, why didn't Neil win that award? Why Jack Kirby? You know how it is. So I had a lot more letters in those kind of zines than I did art, but a few things here and there. But then we go on through the college deal, and I wanted to get into comics, and I cobbled together a portfolio, and I took it down to New York City, and I showed it to Vince Coletta, and he just hated it. He didn't like. He was the art director, and coincidentally, one of the few artists I did not like whatsoever. So I'm going, this is the guy who's telling me I'm not going to be able to do this, and this is true. He actually said to me at the end of looking at my stuff, kid, I tell you making in comics, but I don't want to be, jerking you off, or something like that. And he used the hand motion.
Yeah.
Then Julie Schwartz came in, and I said, thank you. And I said, okay. And I left, and I got on the train. I went back to my house on Long Island. I was kind of in a daze, and I pulled out of the parking lot. Almost got hit by another car, but I didn't. So I always figured that was like, the next challenger. I, did not, I escaped whatever they escaped. I forget how it goes. So I was going to work on a new portfolio because I wanted to keep trying. And Lynn and I had just moved out of the house and moved in together. And she's in the other room now. And what am I? I'm 23 or so. Yeah, something like that. 24. And I decided to do a little comic strip of me interviewing Spider-Man. I'd never really done a comic type style before, except once in college for a friend who was having a party, at a keg party, and he wanted me to do an advertisement. I did a little comic strip in a funny style. So I thought I'd use that again. And I came up, I had also been, the previous summer, because first time I had left my friends in college, I'd come up with a little character, hair parted in the middle, beard, and I used it for letters. That's how I came up with this drawing. And so I thought, well, I'll just have him talking to Spider-Man. Make a few jokes, make a few comments, sent it in, and it went over very well. He said, can you do some more? I did some more, and not too long after that, the people from DC wrote to me and said, could you do the little strip in the Daily Planet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. Oh, and there was also that letter that I did. I was writing letters also. I was also writing, hi there I am. I was writing letters also to illustrated letters to the people in comics, and one of them was to Bill Mantlo of Iron Man. And he said, I really like this letter you drew for me, but it's in different colors and everything. Can you redo it in black and white and send it in, and we'll pay you? And I said, wow, this will be okay, sure. And I did. And they paid me $35. And I made a photocopy of the check, thinking, what if I never get in comics again? I'll have this just to say I made it through. And then it just all kind of snowballed, and I never finished the other portfolio, and I never saw Vince Colletta again. But then he inked my book, and I hated it.
I don't think you missed out on anything by not seeing Vince Colletta again.
Yeah.
No, but he did. He did wind up inking the Destruction of the Marvel Universe, which I remember calling up the editor. Please, can you get someone else? I know you like using the old guys. How about Chick Stone? I love Chick Stone, because he was using Chick Stone a lot. That was fun. But he didn't do it. So what are you going to do? So that's how I got into comics. That's how I got into the scenes.
So you become so you did the DC strip for a bit.
Yep.
And
that was where I noticed and discovered your work.
Yeah. Yep.
And you're also doing stuff at Fanico.
Yes.
Around the same time, Alien Encounter, Smiling Ed, The Chronicles.
Yes.
So you're that's, I think, your main published work at the time is on that side, while you're doing these strips that are, well, being seen by the masses over at DC.
Yep. Well, my first book, the collection of the Buyer's Guide strips, was done by Eclipse, and I put together a second volume, Hembeck 1980. This was 1979. I thought that would sound so futuristic. I don't know, because I was influenced by Frankenstein 1970, the movie, which I saw like in the early 60s, going, wow.
Yeah.
A year with a zero at the end. But they were a little slow on getting it together, the people at Eclipse. And I had moved to Troy, New York, near Albany, New York, which was where Fantico, a comic book store, was located, and which I would go into each week. They had been interested in getting it to publishing. And so we kind of worked it out that they would publish my stuff. And that's how I got to work with Fantico so much during that time and period. Not Fantagraphics, which people to this day occasionally get confused with, but Fantico.
Mm-hmm.
And then here, hang on, I think I got the Hembeck 80.
Yep. That was a picture there it is, 1980. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I did the color separations on that in the middle of the night. Jeez.
Oof.
Cutting plastic. Cutting ruby lith. I don't know if you guys know what ruby lith is.
No.
It's I don't even at this point, but it was some sort of red stuff you cut and you layered on different things, and man, the computer age is so much easier.
Oh, I mean, it's such a different. I mean, publishing now is. I remember in the old, cutting, pasting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's just all incredibly different now. So I think that your we'll call it your claim to fame, the thing that I think most people in the comics world know you for, is your time at Marvel in the 80s.
Yes.
You start with the Fantastic Four roast, and then you're in Marvel Age,
Yep.
Pretty much monthly doing stuff, and and that I think is really, if in the history books, you're a very important part of Marvel's 1980s run as this kind of weird, guy doing this thing on the side, on the fringe of the Marvel universe.
Yep.
So how's this start? How's that gig come about?
Well, the funny thing is, I didn't really realize how it started until years later. I mentioned earlier that I sent out letters to people in comics. Apparently, I sent one to Jim Shooter telling him how wonderful he was on his run of Avengers, but I'd forgotten that I had done it until years later when he put it up on his website, and I went, "Oh, no wonder he was so nice to me." But I'd met him at a convention, walking around once, and he was very excited. He was talking to some fans. This is shortly after I'd started doing my stuff. When I said who I was, he seemed very pleased. Again, I'd forgotten that I'd sent him this letter. And he was telling the fans that they're going to be all different kinds of books coming out, and people could have, creator-owned material. Why, there could even be a Fred Hembeck comic coming out. And I'm smiling, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, right, that's ever going to happen. But I don't know, a year or so later, he gives me a call and says, we're going to try to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Fantastic Four. We like the idea of doing like a roast of them. I had another writer in mind, but it turned out it didn't really work out. I don't know who it was. I don't know how far they got along with it. And so he said, would you like to do it? And well, of course I would, And so I did the layouts and did the story, did the writing, a little bit of drawing here and there, including the cover. It was weird because the art was given out to different people, like depending on who was drawing that character that time period. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wrote it in pieces. It wasn't written page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I always thought it, it held up. I always like it. I still like it. I was very excited recently. It actually appears in a Marvel Masterworks hardcover, the first one, that of the John Byrne era.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah. They sent me a copy, which was great.
Oh.
So, like all the first of John Byrne's, I don't know, 9, 10 issues or whatever it was, and then the Fantastic Four roast. So to me, that's pretty cool. It's been reprinted 3 times in the last couple of years. It was in that compilation book they did called House of Hem, and then they did the paperback on my stuff. So, after lying dormant for like 30 years, it's been popping up everywhere. So that's how that started. That's how that came about.
And this is still a fantabulous cover, by the way.
Yes, yeah,
absolutely is. I mean, well, I'm a sucker for I'm a sucker for the 3D man. So, but again, this is what I love about your style is that you like embrace it all as a totality. It's not just like, okay, yeah, I mean, we got the A-listers up front here, but you have fun with all the characters.
Oh yeah. At that point, I think up until about 1985, I read every Marvel comic that had come out, and knew all the characters, knew all the background stuff. Yeah, like them.
Absolutely. So for Marvel Age, did they just give you a ring and say, hey, you just want to do a 2-page center spread?
Jim Salicrup, I guess, was the one who contacted me, and yeah, I guess so. I guess they would tell me what was the focus that issue, and if sometimes I could promote it, and other times I didn't really have anything specific, and I could do whatever I wanted. Like, of course, Santa and Adolf. That's the Christmas message for the kids.
Yeah.
Very, very, very Christmassy. I mean, Captain America, Sergeant Fury, they're coming to save the day.
Yeah,
But I love the fact that all the Howling Commandos are absolutely correct. There's Dino, there's Percy, there's Rebel Ralston.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I know all their names.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't? I mean, do you know Ice Cream Soldier and Wild Man as well?
From Sergeant Rock Easy Company, yeah, along with Jackie, Bulldozer, Wildman, who you could pass for if you dye your hair red.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, Ice Cream Soldier. I never understood that one. Well, I made one of my stupid, Daily Planet jokes too.
But the theory was that he was awesome in snow combat.
Snow.
I never came across a story that showed him excelling at that.
I know. Yeah, exactly. I know. That's
And he was the one guy that never talked. He never just like, okay, Rock. That was kind of it. So
yeah.
But yeah, I remember that strip you did with the ice creams.
Ice creams, yeah.
I gotta say two
things. They weren't all gems.
I gotta say two things about the DC work though. One, if you imprint on the first artist who does a character, you imprinted Firestorm for me. I had no knowledge of that character at all. And then we did this strip, we're like, I want my book back, and they're roasting marshmallows in his head. I was like, I didn't even know who that was. But I was like, so every time I think of Firestorm, I think of you. And,
right. That's something.
And I did not know Hembeck was your name. I thought Hembeck was a synonym for like craziness or wackiness or whatever. And I just thought, oh yeah, it's a complete state of Hembeck in there,
Yeah, that's why we were able to get away with Bah Hembeck, because it sounds like Bah Humbug. Yeah, it's our real name though. There's not a lot of people with that name, so it stands out,
Oh, absolutely, yeah, that's the great stuff. And so again, a really solid run in Marble Age, and I guess now I'm sorry, what came first? Was it the Assistant Editors Month issue of Spider-Man?
I get mixed up with that myself, to tell you the truth. I don't remember which came first. I think the roast came first. But yeah,
it was the roast, and was it before Marble Age?
I don't really honestly remember. I think so.
I think the Marble Age stuff comes first.
Okay,
you could be right too.
I think then you get the Assistant Editors Month. But clearly somebody liked you.
Bill Mantlo. Bill Mantlo was like he's the one who printed the letter in Iron Man, because I had been sending him a whole bunch of letters telling him that I really enjoyed his stories and stuff. And then when it came to this, he's the one who, got a hold of me to do this, which in a way leads to a kind of a unfortunate story, which was I'd never drawn a superhero story myself before. I mean, even one that's goofy like that, with action and fighting and all kinds of stuff. So, and of course, Bill sent out like a plot that was like 4 paragraphs. And I had to like make 15 or 16 pages out of it. And several of those pages were not very good, and they were not acceptable. So I had to redo them, and he got kind of cranky because he had to like rewrite it and, give me more direction. And I'm like, well, yeah, but this is kind of new to me.
Yeah.
So, we had been talking on the phone a number of times prior to that, friendly and stuff. And that kind of was like the last time we had kind of spoken, and it wasn't an argument, and but it was a little sour, you know what I mean? And of course, we all know Bill has had
right.
Yeah.
He had a situation happen, so I always felt bad about that. Never could kind of fix that up. That was that. So sorry to ruin it for all you people.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but there's a valid point there about how you may have gotten thrown into the deep end. Yeah.
I kind of thought that was fair, and I mean, the pages where he's just like talking with people, I'm fine with, but then they had all this, have him down by the printing press, and there's no internet to Google printing press.
Yeah,
where do I get a picture of printing press?
Right.
So but the thing about that issue was that was the first time Spider-Man ever revealed his secret identity, and it was to the Black Cat. So for some reason, this great, important portion of Spider-Man's life, they give to this guy who's putting squiggles on the knees. That wasn't my idea, but okay. That also winds up being reprinted, and I get copies of that too. So yeah, there you go.
Well, hey, it was there. If you had to redraw it, Fair enough, but the whole point of the matter is that what did get published, I think, was absolutely fine. It was in the spirit of that whole month.
Yeah,
it was a big, even though I don't think it was April, but it was this wonderful meta April Fool's-esque sort of thing that they did, which at that time at Marvel just made it all exciting that they had a sense of humor enough to do this across the board. Which I maintain is still it's better than any Secret Wars or any other multi-grid crossover that I think anyone's ever done.
Yeah, there were a lot of good issues. There were some fun things that month. I know John Byrne got a lot of heat for doing that snow issue. Could have had Ice Cream Soldier in that one.
Yeah, really. He could have.
He might have been guest starring. He probably was guest starring because he doesn't say anything.
That's right.
You know, he was probably there. But I thought that was funny. I enjoyed that. What he did, I'm saying.
That's right. Denny did the Little Rascals story in Iron Man.
I really love that story with the kid with Iron Man with the pot on his head.
Yeah.
And the all the kids running around as the Avengers. That was my favorite. I love that.
Yeah. Here I am. I'm on the street, drinking all this soda, getting I don't know how many cavities.
And was that the Avengers where they did the Letterman show?
Yes,
I believe so. Yeah. Another good one.
It's again. We've had Jim on the show before, and I asked him, was there anything that you wanted to do and you couldn't? And he said, no, we did everything we wanted to do, and yeah, and it definitely shows.
Did they ever publish a large collection of that? All the assistant editors months?
No, not separate. I think just only in the collections of. I have an Avengers omnibus that has the Avengers story.
Right.
I've got Fantastic Four, trade that has it, but I don't think they ever did it as one unique piece.
They should do that. Why not?
They should.
Another tidbit about
everything else.
Another tidbit about that too was that it also created, in my mind, the myth of how big and important San Diego was at that time.
Right.
All the editors are in San Diego, so the assistant editors are left alone and going wacky. But San Diego is so important to the industry that everybody has to go.
So, but of course, that wasn't entirely true,
Yeah, I know. When I finally went, I realized, okay, this is not the promised land I was told it was be. All right.
No, I mean to say that the editors were still editing the.
Yeah, of course. But when you're a kid, you don't know this. I mean, it's just that was the illusion of the Marvel bullpen. It was all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, sure. Don't tell mom.
Yeah, exactly.
So so somewhat later on, this comes along. Hang on, wrong one, wrong book.
I think I know where you're going.
I'm trying to bring up Fred Hembeck Destroys the Marvel Universe.
Okay. Yep.
And
what a surprise! It's taking you a while to get it on the screen.
And here we come. And what's fascinating about this is, your name is at the top in big bold red letters, and there you are on the cover, and you're the star, and it was this is a special thing because we've got a Fred Hembeck comic.
I know.
So
it's insane.
That's got to be cool.
How does that happen? How does how does something like this ever happen?
Right.
You have your own official Marvel logo.
Yeah. There's a lot to this story.
I've heard snippets to it, but if you want to tell us for our audience that may not know, and I'll preface this by saying, this is coming out soon, but it didn't come out soon, did it? It was at least 2 years?
At least. Somewhere around there. Well, initially, it was a 48-page story. And if you go to my website, hembeck.com, you can read the framing story, the original framing story, which goes with most of what happened in here. Because, again, Jim calls me up, Jim Shooter, and he says at the time there was this situation in the Buyer's Guide news from Cat Ironwood about how Doug Mensch had said, Jim Shooter's trying to destroy all the Marvel characters and replace them with different people. different Iron Man, a different Thor. They're going to kill all the Marvel characters and change them. And it was, people were, up in arms about that. So, Jim Shooter said, why don't we do like a book kind of takeoff on that? And you can do it. And I said, yeah, that sounds great. We'll call it Jim Shooter Destroys the Marvel Universe. And he says, yeah, all right. When he gets back to me, he goes, I talked to my, superiors, and they really don't like the idea of having my name in the title. What do we call it? Fred Hembeck Destroys the Marvel Universe. And of course, well, modest fellow that I am, I said, sure, that sounds great. And so we did that. But the framing story was about Jim Shooter and his 3 assistants, Clark, Bruce, and Diana, and how it would turn out later in the story, he was hypnotized by a piece of radioactive coal, because he was from Pittsburgh, from his previous editor. We didn't say the name, but it was Mort Weisinger, who he worked with, to destroy the Marvel characters. And that was the framing story, which went around why he would hire me, because he said, I couldn't do it. I'll hire you, Fred, to kill these characters. But then, just as the book was about to, go to press, Jim Shooter was fired from Marvel Comics. So there goes the end of that thing from me. Well, actually, first they said, no, we don't want to have the DC thing. Let's change it. And then we did some new pages where it was Jim Shooter and his evil twin, Tiny Tim Shooter. He was a quarter of an inch shorter than Jim, and he always held that against Jim. And so he was the one who was taking Jim's place and plotting it. But after that was finished, Jim is fired. They're not going to be doing this. But it was lying around, and somebody said, we really should use these pages. So I did a new framing sequence, which included the Punisher, who wasn't that big a deal when I did the book originally, but was by the time it came out.
Right.
And at the end, it's Stan Lee pulling off the mask, and da-da-da-da. And so that's how that came out.
I think when you first started on the book, Punisher was a guest star every now and again in Spider-Man. And now, by the time this comes out, Punisher has had the miniseries. Now there's the Punisher 1. It's like, how many Punisher books can we put out?
Yeah, exactly. And everything.
So,
and the thing I was just going to say that I always liked the framing story better than the actual story. I wish people, again, they can see if they want to go online and search it out, because I posted the whole thing. But I even said to them, I said, when they were putting together my my book, the trade paperback, I said, any chance you can, put those pages in the book? They said, they looked into it, said, no, we can't. But I always like the framing story better than the actual story. So, people want to look it up. Go ahead.
Because when it finally came out, I mean, it was meta. I enjoyed the fact that it was meta contextual, in the sense that even back then I figured there was something behind the scenes there, and your cartoon counterpart was like, so whatever happened to the book? Oh, don't even ask. It just it's you basically said what we all felt like. There's something going on. I can't really say, and oh, here it is. But the funny bit is that technically it's really not you destroy the Marvel Universe. It's Chuckles, the Death Clown.
Right. A name I got from the Superman TV show. Chuckles the Clown. I don't know if you remember that episode.
No, I don't.
No. He was the bad guy. Because, well...
My favorite episode is one with the ghost of Caesar.
Oh, okay. My favorite is the Unholy Three. The one with the man at the window, and Jimmy and Perry are coming back from a fishing trip. First season.
Yeah. Okay, I do remember that one.
Yeah, that one's something. Yeah, if you give me 2 hours, I'll talk about that. But let's not talk about that.
Yeah, it's fine.
So we have this. Yes, this was called From Excels the Marvel Universe, because they wanted to reprint some of my Marvel Age pages, which of course were centerfolds, which is a fun way to print stuff, and didn't always work, but we tried. Some worked better than others.
But Brother Voodoo got to be on the cover or something.
He did.
So I think that there was a win there.
Yep.
And any chance we get to see Voodoo Child,
yep,
is a win for humanity.
Yep, Sister Voodoo, the whole Voodoo clan,
Mm-hmm.
the Voodoo gang, sure.
Brother Voodoo, yes. What was it? Doc Samson came and took him away. Yeah, you think he's gonna get his own miniseries, but let me tell you about mine. Each one.
So, I guess this is the omnibus.
Yep.
That has all the good stuff,
but not the Marvel or DC stuff.
Right. The I think Image put this out, right?
Yes, they did.
And,
Although
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I did sneak one story in for Marvel. It was a story I did for which was it was a Nick Fury story that was drawn by John Severin from my tight layouts. I just put my layouts in there. So
when he's mowing the lawn.
Yeah, exactly.
Crabgrass with the old timey treacle one. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. That was
but this thing has all the stuff that you did for the for Fanico, all the buyer's guide stuff, right? This has all the
every single one.
900 pages. It's a monstrosity.
I know, it's amazing.
How much does it weigh?
It's not too heavy because the paper was as cheap as I could get, but that's okay. It's like telephone book paper.
Telephone book. Okay, right.
Yeah,
like the Cerebus telephone books. Okay, I'm with you.
Yep.
Still.
Yeah, that was. We got to give Al Gordon credit for that. The artist Al Gordon.
Al Gordon. Yeah.
He was friends with good friends with Eric Larson, who at that point in time was the publisher of Image. Mm-hmm. He was the publisher there for a while, and he somehow convinced him to do this, and that's how it was done.
Al was a great inker.
Oh yeah, Al's great.
He did that. When he was inking Giffen on the 5 years later stuff. He's just doing great work.
Yep. Yeah, I always liked his stuff.
So, did you ever get to meet or talk to Ditko?
No, not really. No, I'll say no. But he did walk past me once, and I didn't know it. I was one of my few visits to the DC Comics because Joe Staten lived in the same town I lived in years back. Currently, it's about 30 miles away, but because we moved. But I went into New York to the city with him to DC. This is, I don't know, maybe the late 80s, mid 90s, something like that. And he was showing me around. I met a few people. Then Jack Harris was the editor, and Jack said, "Joe and I have to, do some business. So would you mind waiting out here in the lobby?" Sure, why not? So I sat there, just kind of just spacing out, looking around. Some people came in, some people went out. I didn't pay much attention. When I came back, when Joe and Jack came back, they said, did you see him? I go, no. What do you mean? Steve Ditko came in, and he went back out. So he walked past me, and I saw him, but I didn't know it was him. Wow. That's as close as I got. Yeah. And that Kirby. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Good. Kirby.
Yeah.
One of the two ain't bad. Hey, honestly, given for everything that we've heard over the years about Ditko, I mean, what could you have done? Gone up to him and said, "I'm a big fan." I'm like,
Yeah, I'm the guy who redraws all your pictures, and then he says how wonderful you are, and he probably say, "Do your own stuff. Go away, kid."
But no, but you know what? I think that Ditko would appreciate, that you were doing your own thing, and that the stuff that you were doing was very much you, right? Like there's no, right? Like not the Neil Adams Fred Hembeck, but the Squiggly Lines Fred Hembeck. I think that he would have appreciated that you were doing his character, those characters, but you were doing it in your own way, and you were presenting it in a different. You weren't trying to mimic what he was doing, and I think that was his whole thing was, he didn't like people who weren't creating who he felt lacked the creativity.
I'll go with that. I'll
Yeah.
buy that. Okay, thanks enough. Thank you.
So
I
yeah,
love drawing
Have
those characters most of all.
Have you ever done a Mr. A?
I have. I've done a couple of cards of Mr. A. Yeah.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't. I don't, because it's a creator-owned character. But what are you going to do? He's not around anymore.
I've actually I think I'm the only person who's cosplayed as Mr. A. So.
That I'd like to see. Yep.
Oh, Mike, should I bring up a picture?
bring it up.
All right. Good. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Give me a minute. I'll pull it up.
Patty does the dress up. It's a little out of my wheelhouse. So, what was the first convention you remember going to?
As
a
Cartoonist Fred or as regular Fred?
As regular Fred.
I'd always wanted to go to a convention. I lived on Long Island, 50 miles away from New York City.
Okay.
But I could never. Yaphank, Long Island, small town near Middle Island and Patchogue. If that means anything to anybody.
Patchogue, I'm familiar.
Are you from New York there, Mike?
I'm from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, also New York, yes.
But we had, we had friends in Long Island. We had friends, everywhere. We'd go visit.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. But I'd always wanted to go to a convention. Never could manage it. Finally, it's 1971 or so. I managed to talk a couple of my friends into liking comics again. We're just getting out of high school, and we're going to go to the convention the next day. This big, I think it was a creation one. But my friend Beezy, hi Beezy, how are you? He, we went to a party that night before, and we drank too much.
Oh no!
Not crazy too much.
You didn't go?
Still, no, we went, but we didn't start till like 2 p.m. or something.
This one?
Oh, I wonder. Could be that one, but I didn't get that. Oh yeah. The thing I remember is we got there, the Comic Art Convention, 71.
This was the Phil Sewing one. It's not Creation. This is the one that was at the Statler Hilton.
I have the ones with the guides with the Joe Simon Captain America on the cover.
This one.
Maybe. We got there so late we didn't get any of that stuff.
Was it November?
No, it was in the summer. And thing I always remember is we got there like at 6 o'clock and walked around the dealer's room, and we saw 2 panels. We saw Russ Heath.
Nice.
And we came in at the very end of Russ Heath.
Okay.
And I said, well, I'll probably get to see him again. Never saw him again.
Oh.
Vaughn Baudet doing his wizard thing. And that was my first convention. After that, we made a point of not drinking the night before and getting there early. And I would go, we used to do those things. Mike would probably know this. They had those, what were they called? It was once a month, second Sunday or something. It's on a Sunday. Suling had something once a month, and we would drive in and get all the new comics and walk around the dealer's room. But I also went to the conventions. I went to the one which had.
You would have like his little comic meets, his like small little.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
Yep.
Was it
big? Go ahead.
Were those in the church at the time, or?
No, I think it was Statler Hilton.
That's that where
I always remember Statler Hilton.
Well, that was where Suling did all his shows in the Statler.
Yeah. Yep. I went to a couple of creations as well. That's the first one I ever went to where people knew who I was.
The comic art. He always did 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
Doing so. Yep. You haven't done any of our shows. I started doing shows in Florida around 2006, And for years, not then, back then it was November, but for years, I because of various reasons, to get away from like all the other shows in the country, we ended up on 4th of July weekend every year, and everybody would be like, "Oh, you're, what kind of idiot puts on a show 4th of July weekend in Miami Beach, right?" And I'd be like, "Well, I got to get away from like Heroes Con would move to this date, or you get San Diego over there, and everybody had all their dates moving around." But I was always like, well, nobody puts on a show 4th of July weekend, so I'm going to go there. And I always felt like, well, it's the classic New York dates, and it was also the classic World Science Fiction Convention dates. So I'm like, I'm going to have the 4th of July show, and everybody would be like, nobody would ever do that. I'm like, really? Because that's the history of these shows, is 4th of July weekend in New York. But what do I know? For years.
The first convention I ever went to out of state was in Florida, a Orlando Con put on by Jim Ivey.
Yep.
I met
do you remember what year?
Could have been 78 or 79. I know that Wayne Boring was there. Wayne Boring.
Yeah. He did all the Florida shows.
Yep. And I remember Bob Kane was supposed to be there, but didn't show up because it was a Jewish holiday. That was the reason he gave. Yeah. Mike Zeck was there.
Well, Mike, Mike's from here.
Oh yeah. And John is the guy who inked his stuff. Goodness gracious.
Oh, John Beatty.
Yes, exactly. John Beatty.
You know what I'm actually missing? You said 78, 79. I guess 77.
Okay.
But I'm missing 78 and 79. Then I go to 81.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get
those. Yeah, I don't know. First time I got to Disney World, too. Because it was in Orlando,
Yeah.
Here I am.
I'm in Orlando right now.
Oh, very, very nice.
Patty did work for the Mouse for a number of years as a performer.
Oh, okay.
So he got to go there every day.
Yeah.
Who might you have been?
I can say this now. I did a show called the Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor that opened in 06. So I did all the characters in that. So I mostly, cool. So like I said, when I got hired, I had just turned 40, and I played a 6-year-old for Disney for 13 years.
Well, if you can't keep your youth when you're hanging out with Disney, why not? I mean, where can you? Or something.
Absolutely. I am trying to find this damn Mr. A picture, and I can't.
So while you're finding Mr. A,
yeah.
So Fred, you've done a lot of commission work, and then I've seen a lot of the covers that you've done. Some of the recreations, which were really awesome, and then I guess some years ago you kind of fell into this thing of doing sketch cards.
Oh yeah.
And now I guess that's your main thing. You're putting them up on eBay every day.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can bring this up here.
I've been doing all kinds of drawings, and I was on Facebook, and a guy, I think he had a comic store, said, you should try sketch cards. I said, really? I'd done a few previously for a charity. Guys did a charity, sent me some blank ones, but I hadn't really pursued it. And I wish I knew who that guy was, because boy, do I owe him a lot of thanks, because I've been doing it over 10 years now. It's insane. But at this point, I draw them, I go out in my front yard, put them in the mailbox. The mail person takes them away. I don't have to go anywhere where I can get any nasty germs.
Patty.
Yeah, hold on.
Look what Fred put up today.
Yeah, I got news. I'm trying something new today.
Oh, couples!
It's couples time.
Oh no!
Oh no, Mike! You're going to. Oh wait! Scroll back down. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Black Widow.
There's 9 of them. Yeah, and there's more to come. There we go.
That is my favorite Black Widow costume.
And also, there's your favorite trio.
Yeah.
Very true.
Patty has some very specific thoughts on that relationship.
Yeah.
Patty doesn't exactly think that Namor Patty thinks that
I think Namor is gay.
Oh, interesting.
I think Namor is gay, and I think Susan knows, and I think every time they steal away to get together, he's like confides in her that there's this new hunk of my personal royal guard, and he is just so beautiful, and I just want to invite him to dinner, but I can't.
Sure. Well, that makes more sense than the Rawhide Kid series. So,
Mike and I are friends with him. Mike and I are friends with Howard Chaykin, and he drew it, and he screeches about that, saying, "I get this script and it's absolute crap," and so.
Yeah.
So you've so you're on eBay. It's under Fred Hembeck on eBay. You just do a search for Fred Hembeck, and can't miss him. And you do these sketch cards. You put them up, mostly most every day. There's a few more that go up, and they're phenomenal things.
Well,
and
thank you. I appreciate your patronage.
Yeah. Well, they look really nifty. Here, let me pull this up. I just took a couple of pictures earlier, but they look really nifty in these frames.
Yeah. I have one frame on the wall I did for my wife of all the Yellow Submarine characters. So that's one that I have similar, but that's even a nicer looking frame.
And and you can see now. We've really got to get a more.
What's missing?
What are we missing here? We're missing a Hellcat.
Hellcat, keep that in mind.
A Star Fox on that one, because
Star Fox. Yes.
Kind of went. Okay. And then I really gotta send you a list. I gotta have you do a couple.
Sure,
mission. And then here's another one.
I aim to please.
Here's another frame of Avengers.
Okay, these look like the originals.
Yeah, and we're missing a Quicksilver.
Oh, Quicksilver.
And a Swordsman.
Oh, okay. I've been known to draw them.
Yep. And let's see.
Let me write this down.
I'll email you a list.
Okay.
I'll work. I'll work you.
Yeah.
I'll put you to
That's
work.
Fine.
So,
sure.
But for anybody listening, Fred does these things. They're incredible pieces, and you can just kind of put together whatever groups you want. So, like, here's like a little, Justice League.
What can be missing there? It looks like Batman.
Yeah, we got to get a Batman in there.
Okay.
And then people always like your Batman.
Yeah. Some characters really fly out of there.
You got some stuff. You got some stuff up right now that's going to fix this.
Oh yeah, I loved everyone. Yeah, Justice Society is always a big seller. People love the Justice. I loved, those are the characters I really like to draw those. I mean, they were before my time, but some of my earliest DC memories were those Flash of Two Worlds. They would show pictures of like comics characters that came before I was, born. These guys got to be the best, I'm thinking. And those Crisis, before it was, Crisis and Infinite Earths, it was in the Justice League every year. Of course, the stories don't hold up. That if I try reading those old stories, they don't really enchant me. But I love drawing the characters.
No, but the idea of it is
exactly
is really cool.
Right. The idea is it sells it.
The idea, the concept. The story. It doesn't. It's flat, but
yeah.
So the.
That's the first time I dabbled in the couples,
the duos.
Yeah, duos. Yeah.
Oh. Huh.
I haven't done any more Legion couples. I should though.
Yeah, I need some more Legion couples.
I'll have to find out who's who in the couple characters.
Oh, there's a lot of. Mike can rattle those off for you.
Yeah.
The Legion. That's my book.
Oh,
Legion,
okay.
Those
are my two.
That's his jam.
Yeah.
I have several Legion bands out there. Yeah.
And then occasionally you post some weird stuff that I have to get for Patty.
Yeah.
Yeah, what? Give me an idea.
Patty, you've ended up with what? The Unknown Soldier.
Yeah, I'm a big Unknown Soldier fan.
Oh, yeah.
I love Wonder Man in his classic red safari jacket outfit.
Oh yeah.
You know, which I think is the only outfit that makes sense. All the other ones are just like, what's going on? I just love. I have a real soft spot for just the obscure apocrypha, the goofy sort of characters.
Mm-hmm.
He's got me some other ones. Okay, I can't find this damn Mr. A picture, but as I just sent one to Mike that I think you as a Spider-Man fan, especially a Ditko Spider-Man fan, will really, really, really appreciate it. I am the only person to have ever cosplayed as this version of Spider-Man.
That we know of.
I've scoured. I can't find it. I've seen people do the movie version. But...
Yes. I remember that. Very nice. Very nice. Okay.
If you see the close up, it's actually kind of webbed the way that it did. So I pull a fishnet stocking of it. So yeah, I ran around with that.
Okay.
Like Crusher Hogan.
Crusher Hogan, yes.
Yeah. I'll go that one. Well, if it ain't the best Marvel, all right, you know.
Yeah.
That leading to that great story, whatever happened to Crusher Hogan.
Yeah, I do remember that. They did some nice. Yeah, there's been good Spider-Man stories in the years since, but I just love those classic 39 or 38, whatever it was.
Speaking of the Legion.
Oh yeah, there we go. It's one of my obvious puns, but that's what we like.
So your wife's a big Yellow Submarine fan?
Oh yeah, we're both Beatle fans over here. So yeah, I've done the regular Beatles and the Blue Meanies, but I haven't done the real obscure characters and put them up.
We're Jose Delbo's a good friend. He lives down here. Jose and his wife Mabel.
Yes.
And he had done that comic.
Oh, he did that. Okay.
He did that Yellow Submarine comic back in the.
I do have that somewhere. And, he did Cheyenne Kid too. That's where I first saw his work. Yeah. Cheyenne Kid for Charlton. Which at one point they used the word scum. He's scum, and I was like shocked. I've never seen that word before in a comic book. Oh my God. Oh, here we go. This is yes, dedicated to Mike Grell. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Who I met once and was very nice to me. He didn't yell at me.
Oh, Mike's great. He
seems like a great guy.
We do a panel with him when he does our shows, which involves drinking bourbon and telling old comic stories. Mike's an old bourbon drinker, and
he's older than bourbon, maybe both at this point. Yeah. Well, I'm not one to speak. It's okay.
So all right. So I implore people to check you out on eBay and see what you got going on. And then they can find you on fredhembeck.com.
Yeah, my website is still up, but it hasn't really been added to in years. But we keep it up there so people can read some of the background stories, especially the thing on the destruction of the Marvel Universe. So, there's stuff on there. Some stories.
And there's some cartoon stuff on there also.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's Hembeck.com. Sorry, Hembeck.com.
Yeah, Hembeck.com.
And there's some great stories on there. If you want to, you can get lost in there for a few hours.
For a couple of years, I was really, really thrilled with, every day I was writing and I was putting this stuff up and I was feeling so proud of myself and I wasn't making a penny on it. And I said, I should probably draw stuff. I might get some money if I did that. So no offense to the words, but now I enjoy drawing, obviously. So
you can find it all about how the fall of Tundra, caused the epic.
Oh, yeah. That's another. So many things I've done that never went anywhere. I'm such a loser. What can I tell you? I worked with Stan Lee 3 times, and no one has ever seen the things I've done with him because they all never happened.
Oh God. Well,
I'll tell you, it's too late now. Stan's not around.
Well, find somebody who wants to make money off of his name.
Yeah, the last one we tried to sell. People just wouldn't go for it. That one I actually completed. It was 2011. He calls me up because first time he called me up was 30 years ago, and it was just after The Simpsons came about. He had seen my stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd been very complimentary towards him, so he kind of liked me. I didn't mean to do that, but I just, you know, was sincere. And he wanted to do. Since The Simpsons were really popular, just become really popular, they wanted to do a cartoon show about. It was called Captain Super. It'd be about a family of superheroes. Does this sound familiar? This is way before The Incredibles. So he had me design the characters. And I tell you this, one afternoon, I'm on the phone with Stan Lee, and we're throwing ideas back and forth, and you know, because I'm making stuff up, and it was like the most amazing half an hour of my life, practically. Because here was this guy, so important to my life, my childhood. I mean, as much as I love the artist, it was Stan who imprinted on my brain, and he loved it, and I did the not breakdowns, but, you know, designs and stuff, and I did drawings of various characters using their abilities and sent them out, and and nowhere.
So
it lasted about 2 weeks.
You said he called you the first time 30 years ago.
Yeah. I know it's 30 because my wife was pregnant, and she's 30 now.
So why did he call you? It was the Simpsons thing, and then did you know he was going to call you, or did he just call you?
No, I did not. No, I was home one day, and all of a sudden he calls me. This was a later conversation I just related to you, but the first time it was like, whoa. Oh, I had met him briefly when I went to the Marvel offices. Oh, around the time.
Ray wants to know if there's a link to order special commission for sketch cards other than eBay.
Not a link, but you can always email me, and my email is Fred with the little A, you know, the Hembeck.com. So email me, Fred Hembeck.com.
And I think I read on your website you like to do a few at a time.
Yeah, at this point I'm not. A couple of years ago I took on a whole bunch at once and just kind of hang. I just want to take a few at a time so I don't, you know, lose my mind.
Sure.
But yeah, but Stan, he just called me up one day and said, we're thinking about doing this. Would you like to? Oh, yeah, sure. I'd like to. And like I said, we had that great. I'd met him in the offices once when I was there around the time just before Epic magazine came out. Some talk about me doing something for the first issue of Epic. That didn't happen. Everything I get near Stan Lee, it doesn't happen. But yeah, so the Stan Lee thing lasted for about 2 weeks, and then it didn't go anywhere. And then about 10 years, then around 2000, remember Stanley.com?
Yep.
The big website? Yep. Yeah. I didn't talk to Stan this time, but I talked to Jim Salicrup, who I'd been working with at Marvel, very good friends with him. And Stan wanted me to do a weekly strip, you know, that put up on the website. So, and he wanted to get a backlog. So I did 9 of them. And some of them were contemporary, supposedly. Then it was supposed to be about Stan's characters. And, you know, the thing I remember about this was best payment I ever got for something, which was not the case in the other instance. But I remember I was going to Disney World again. I might have seen you there, Patty, but I'm not sure.
You would not have seen me.
Okay. We were going on vacation. Jim said, don't worry, go on vacation. Everything will be fine. I come back, and of course, Stanley bankrupt and everything. And at the same time, I was doing something for the Comics Buyer's Guide and a new version of the comic reader, which was called Little Freddy. It's in the omnibus. And I had all these things going at once. When I came back, Stanley was gone. The Buyer's Guide decided to stop buying them because they were losing money, and the comic reader never happened. So it's like I went away, and all my jobs went away with me. It was the weirdest thing. And then in 2011, Stanley calls up again, and my wife picks up the phone, thinking it's a telemarketer, and she says, "Hello," and we have the speakerphone on because we're used to getting phones from my daughter at college. "Hello, is Fred Hembeck there?" And she says, "No, I'm sorry, I'm not." And I go, no, because I recognize the voice, and I get it, and it's Stan. She says, "I think I finally got something we can do together. Have you been following my Twitter account?" No, Stan, I don't have the Twitter. "Oh, you said everyone loves the Stan Lee Twitter account. Let's do a story based on my Twitter account." So I said, he sent me a number of his Twitter things, and I came up with an 11-page story where, Generalissimo Stan says these words, and I was quite proud of the fact that I made this thing actually make some sort of sense. But Stan Lee's not a good caricature I'm not good at caricatures, so I don't know. Maybe that's what killed it. We never got that published either. Me and Stan never happened, but
it's still pretty cool that he. It's still pretty cool that he called you. That he, you're the guy.
Oh yeah.
It's I've had that happen a couple of times where like somebody just calls you out of the blue, and you're like, this person's actually calling me on my phone. They have my number.
Yeah.
I'm on the phone with Henry Winkler or William.
Yeah, he's talking about William Shatner.
oh, okay. But
it's like really cool, like when
yeah,
call you up and you're like, oh God, and then so it kind of validates all your hard work.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
But again, how many people have their name at the head of a title on more than one Marvel comic?
I know. I think that's not something that's going to happen again either. It's just so weird. I just was in the right place at the right time. I mean, there's certainly a lot of people who probably could have deserved to have their title up there more than me, but I just was the one.
You got it.
Yeah.
I have to say,
it's the first line of my obituary.
Hopefully not for a very, very, very long time. I still have a lot of cards I need.
I'm hoping.
Mike, check your email. I found them.
Ah, okay.
Oh, here we go.
I found the picture and I found the prop.
And there it is. I got it. All right, and then we can, and then we'll wrap up.
Yep.
Oh, look at that, Patty. Okay, the world's in for a treat. So we'll start with the prop first.
Okay. Oh yeah.
I had the cards. Anybody recognize the character? I gave one to them. So I gave away about 5.
Oh yeah. Oh, that. I don't remember his head being quite as big in the comics, but I can understand that you couldn't really make it. You had to make it larger.
It's a Jestro mask from G.I. Joe, and
okay. Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, it's one size fits all, but which pretty much what it was, because it was supposed to be it was a metal clamped mask that was white. So, and then later on it got a little malleable, but yeah, that's actually from the front. It actually is a little better, but it was trying to find a hat that would fit on the damn thing. That was the trick. Yeah.
Now, what did you do? Did you have to paint the hat or something, or all those clothes were they all white?
Yeah, the clothes were all white. I just happened to have them around. I found the hat like on Amazon, and of course they sent it in envelopes. It was crushed. I had to go through a couple of them, but yeah, it was just stuff I had lying around.
Yeah,
the cards and just having to, and then doing like the poses. I'd have to do like the, like his little finger bit.
Yeah. I mean, you're giving Harley Quinn a run for her money there. That's pretty good.
I think you that might be the next big cosplay, Patty. All right, Fred, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, I want to thank you for thank you for asking me to do. I enjoyed this quite a bit.
And I will talk a few more minutes backstage, and just for everyone out there, Ray says, thank you for your work, and Phil originally said you rule. You're not a loser, because you said
I've been so enjoying talking to you guys. I didn't actually read these things on the side. So thanks for all you people who talked to me when I didn't pay attention. Sorry.
It's all right.
This is new to me.
So, but thank you for being here, and we'll have to do it again. And and stick around for a minute, and we'll talk backstage. Hembeck.com, Fred Hembeck on eBay.
Facebook too.
And Facebook.
Yep.
And you have anything else to plug?
No Twitter.
No Twitter. Patty, you
No
got
Twitter.
anything?
Well, my goodness. So we got a lot going on this weekend at GalaxyCon Live, don't we?
We do. Tim Curry, Rocky Horror.
And we've had Rocky Horror before, but this time we're being joined by Meatloaf himself.
Yeah.
So we've got him on it. We've got several members of the cast of Supergirl, including Helen Slater, the original Supergirl.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, we've got that going on. And we've got 2 days of Star Trek The Next Generation.
So it'll be a busy weekend for you, Patty.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sounds great, guys.
Gentlemen, we'll see you in the backstage. Everybody out there in Facebook and YouTube land, thank you. And Patty, you want to say something so I can cut you off?